Hello, my beautiful girls. Welcome in. I am so happy to have you with me today. We have a very exciting topic. We're going to be talking about how to go from the wounded to that beautiful goddess, divine feminine energy. So come on in, girls, get comfy. Let's go ahead and chat. Everybody who's watching live, hello, welcome. I will go ahead and chat with you at the end. Okay, so there's two important factors of shifting from the wounded to the divine feminine energy. And as I look back on my journey, I've been on my feminine energy journey for maybe 5 years now, which is crazy to say. And there's two major inner work keys that when I look back, I think, thank God for these because they got me here. Number one, what that is learning how to release and how to let go. And I know, my girls, if you've been with me for a while, you hear me say this again and again. However, there's a different way that I'm going to phrase it today, and hopefully this will make more sense. So there's a story that I had heard the other day, and it was honestly very heartbreaking, but I realized, whoa, this is wounded feminine energy. This is why it's so hard for us girls to sometimes connect to that goddess version of ourselves. So the story was being told about foster kids and kids who grow up in orphanages. And what happens is kids who grow up in the foster system are said to carry two things. Number one, a suitcase, and number two, a pair of boxing gloves. And it broke my heart when I was hearing this because I realized why this is. Foster kids carry a suitcase because they're always on the go. They can never release, they can never let go, they never truly feel safe. And they're also carrying those boxing gloves because they're always defensive. They always have to be prepared to fight. They don't know if they're going to be in a safe system. And I'm sorry, girls, that it feels a little bit low right now. I promise we'll talk about some more high vibrational stuff coming up. But the reason why I bring this story up is because there's so many of us that carry around a suitcase and we carry around this pair of boxing gloves. It was such a beautiful, clear explanation, and the pastor at my church was the one telling the story. I used to be in my wounded feminine energy so much. And you girls know this, I share the stories with you all the time. The reason why I could not release, why I could not let go, and when I say let go, I mean your body just releasing. Feminine energy is just flow. It's just relaxing, it's moving from the head to the heart. It's feeling so juicy and vibrant and beautiful and good in your body. The reason why we can't let go is because we don't have the hands to do it. We're either carrying that suitcase, we're carrying the baggage, we're not letting go, or we are carrying the boxing gloves and we're prepared to fight. The women that I work with that tell me, Alexis, I just can't get out of my masculine energy. They are carrying the boxing gloves. They are prepared to fight the world. And the reason for this is because their body was never made to feel safe. Feminine energy requires safety. It is the number one core need if you want to relax into your body. And so carrying around those boxing gloves and carrying around the suitcase, it can stop us from just flowing and having those open hands, being able to receive. But do not worry, we are going to talk about how to let those go. So a quick story, this is when I had first started some of my deep inner work, and this was back during COVID. I remember the first time I had gone to see a hypnotherapist. And I think I've told a few of you girls this stories before, especially if you're in my courses. I told you about how when I went to see this hypnotherapist, I had a lot of blocked emotions. I had a lot of, what would I call it? I just felt stuck. I felt very stiff. I felt very unhappy, and I knew I needed to let something go. So I went to see this hypnotherapist, and as I was laying on the ground, I remember she started walking me through the meditation, and I just felt my body start to shake and start to cry. And I walked in there thinking, I'm fine, like this will be some fun meditation, whatever. Nope, my inner child needed to release. My feminine energy was trying to wake itself up, and thank God that this woman helped me release these emotions. So as my body was shaking and as I was crying, I don't remember what she was even saying, but my body for the first time in a long time felt safe to release. We are all dying to release. Our bodies crave releasing. If you know what I mean, we crave that release. And so when our body has been stuck and we're carrying that suitcase and there's clothes packed into it, there's shoes packed into it, there's trauma, old conversations, old energetic ties, old wounds, old baggage, that is from our past and that does not belong to us anymore, when we are carrying that, it weighs our energy down and we cannot access the feminine energy. So your job is releasing that. It is teaching your body, it's giving your body that safe environment to actually release and to heal. And so this is what's really mind-blowing for me. When I started crying and releasing, I remember I went up to her afterwards and I was saying this over sobs. I just couldn't talk normally. And I told her, I felt that block in my throat. I felt all of the anger at my past self for not speaking up. The reason why I had blocked emotions is because there were times in my past, in relationships, with my family, in school, at my job, when I did not speak up. You girls know my story. I had a very abusive and toxic childhood, and because of that, so much energy became trapped in my throat. As a kid, anytime I would go to speak up or stand for myself, I was severely shut down. So as a result, my throat became blocked, and I was not a woman who spoke up for herself. That's why I used to be a people pleaser. That's why the dark feminine was very hard to access, all of that. However, that was not the end, and it is not the end for you. So when I cried and my body just released, that block was gone. And I remember telling her, I remember feeling so sad at myself in those times I was walked all over. Why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I stand up for myself? She goes, from this point on, decide to do it. Decide to let that old identity go and speak up for yourself. And it became easier because that block was removed through crying. Your body just needs that safe place to release. And then you can activate the dark, not the dark, for me it was the dark, you can activate the feminine energy. So the reason why I started becoming more of this savage, this goddess, this powerful, confident version of me is because I released. I let the suitcase go. I put the boxing gloves down. I said, it is not me against the world. It is me against my past self. And I became this version of me now. I think some of this inspiration is coming from my old YouTube videos. I have made YouTube videos since I was like 14, but my channel never grew until last year when I started making this content. Looking at my old videos, I can see it in my eyes. I can see it in my face. And last night I wanted to take these videos down because I thought, oh, this is the old identity. I didn't like that version of me, but I thought, no, Alexis, you need to keep it up. Because when I see women transform and I see their old self and now their new self, it gives me so much confidence that I can do it too. So if you want to see the wounded version of me, go and watch my old videos. You'll just see how timid and how shaky, how nervous I was. It's completely different from now, which is why I know that you can heal. You can do it. So another part of this too, that pair of boxing gloves that keeps us defensive. If you struggle with accessing the dark feminine, if you struggle accessing the light feminine or just the divine feminine, it's most likely because there's baggage, there's a suitcase that you're carrying. If you struggle just being feminine in general, if you feel that you carry a lot of masculine energy and it's hard to be soft and relaxed and flow and feel beautiful, it is because you're carrying the boxing gloves. Why are you still fighting? Why are you fighting? You do not need to, my girl. I'm here to tell you, you do not need to. We carry these boxing gloves because something happened in the past that triggered that fight or flight mode, and now we don't feel safe. And we're carrying this identity into our current self. We live in the past, and it's what causes our feminine energy to stay wounded. Put the pair of boxing gloves down and teach your body you are safe instead. If you want to know the hardest inner work that you're going to do, it is going to be teaching your body and giving yourself permission to let the old identity go. We don't want to change. It feels good to keep that pair of boxing gloves up. It feels good to remind ourselves we're protected. If we just fight everybody, if we just keep these in front of us, if we just keep ourselves dimmed down and we don't show people the most beautiful, vibrant version of ourselves, we can stay safe. You are not safe because your body is clenched up, your beautiful goddess energy is hidden, and you cannot attract your dream life. Is that true safety? True safety in your body is knowing it is safe to show up as me. I am divinely protected by God, and I know that everything I experience in life is happening for me, not to me. It's happening for me, and there's a purpose. I enjoy life. I am protected, and I am safe. You give yourself the affirmation, and then it starts to become your reality. You are not a victim. You do not need to fight people. When people look at you and you feel, oh, they're judging me. No, they're not. They're looking at you and seeing a projection of themselves. This is how the world works. So when you put down the gloves and you say, wait a second, the world is safe? It's safe to flow in my feminine energy? What happens? You go from the wounded to the goddess. That is the formula. I remember too, there was this point where I constantly was applying for jobs. And this is when I was in that phase of having the boxing gloves up and I felt very unsafe. And I remember getting so triggered every time I got a rejection. My girls, I literally applied to like 40 jobs in the span of 2 months. I was desperate. A year and a half ago, I was so broke. You girls know this. I was making $350 a week thinking, I am struggling. I don't feel safe. I need to fight the world. I need to fight to get to the top. I need to fight to make money. Well, when I stopped taking all of those rejection letters personally and I stopped getting triggered and said, wait a second, let me just feel where I'm at right now. Let me just release and do my inner work and see what comes. What do you think came? Inspiration to create this business. I would have never had this business if I was still carrying the boxing gloves and the suitcase. So I started healing and releasing and letting go, and suddenly this healthy feminine energy version of me appeared, and I thought, let me start sharing this content on TikTok. Let's see what happens. I did. TikTok exploded. I met so many of you girls through that. And then I said, let me share this on YouTube. Let's see what happens. YouTube exploded, turned into a coaching business, turned into creating digital courses. Everything has changed. And now that version of me that was so scared, why am I getting rejected? I need to fight the world. I need to get these jobs. No, I just needed to lean back and heal. And now money comes. What I was making in a week, now I can make that in a minute. So anything that you are feeling, I need to fight to be here. Life is such a struggle. Relax your body. How can you do the inner work that will allow you to embrace the safest, the most beautiful, the most flowing version of you? That is feminine energy. Feminine energy is feeling safe in your body to let your truest, most goddess-like energy come out. All right, my girls, let me check in with you real quick. I know that I just said a lot. Let me hear your thoughts on this. Yes, I made it. Welcome. When we say that we have wounded masculine energy, does it mean that our masculine energy is wounded and disrupted? So when women have wounded masculine energy, yes. Oh, we talk about this a lot in the courses. When you have wounded masculine energy, it is most likely because something happened that taught your body, I'm not safe. So let's say that you actually grew up in the foster system, constantly moving houses, you never had secure parents. Well, now your body doesn't feel safe just being itself, so it goes into this mode of being hyper masculine because you can't relax, you can't slow down. Your body doesn't know what safety is. So because the masculine energy never had safety to become fully developed, now it affects your feminine energy. The two are so connected. And we'll talk more about how to heal this. Let's see. This is so true. This live resonates so much with what I was going through right now. Girls, you always say this and I love it. I just posted that video on how to stop self-sabotaging and all of the comments, oh my gosh, I needed this. I prayed for this. This is my life. I swear we're so connected as women. You look so beautiful today. Thank you. I'm so happy to see my South African girlies here. Yes, welcome everybody. Yes, okay, I see this question a lot. Can we say that masculine energy is the same as dark feminine energy? They are not the same. They're very similar. They appear to be very similar, but when you get to the root, when you get to the core of what masculine energy is versus what dark feminine energy is, they are completely different. I think the reason why we mix them up so much is because we see dark feminine energy as being dangerous, as being powerful. Sometimes that's how we view masculine energy. Your dark feminine energy, that is a version of you that is the most connected to her truest self. It's the version of you that is powerful, that is confident, feels so safe and secure that she can just release and let her truest self come out. She knows how valuable she is and she protects herself. She's able to speak up. She's able to go after what she wants. She's able to hold that confidence because she knows she's so worthy within. It's this inward worthiness that you project outward unconsciously, and it's beautiful. If your dark feminine energy is something you want to master, I highly recommend the Seductively Savage course. I literally just finished the training an hour ago with the girls. It is the beautiful blueprint on how to access that dark feminine goddess energy. Your masculine energy, it is beautiful too. We need it as women. The biggest misconception I hear is we shouldn't have masculine energy. Well, if you don't have masculine energy, how can you flow? If there is nothing telling your body you're safe, you are protected, how can you flow? You don't truly feel safe, so you need masculine energy. We need a balance of both. I think I get dark feminine energy and being aggressive or guarded confused sometimes. Yes, it's easy to confuse them. Wounded dark feminine energy is aggressive and guarded. Dark feminine energy, healthy dark feminine energy, is open, but she also protects her energy. She's open with boundaries. She's open, but she also knows that it is her job to protect her inner child. She's not aggressive. And that's the thing, setting boundaries as a dark feminine energy woman, it's not going to come across as, hey, don't do that, or hey, don't say that to me. It's going to come across as this inward energy that you just tell people with your eyes, you do not mess with me. It is this beautiful power. We just talked about this in the course, which is why it's so on my heart to keep talking about this. Oh, I did the inner work and finally launched my own coaching business, but I don't know how to attract soul-aligned clients. Do you have any advice, Alexis? My girl, Matilde, so nice to see you in here and congratulations. How do you attract your soul-aligned clients? Start showing up as the truest version of yourself and say things on the internet that are polarizing. What I mean by this is say things that people don't hear every day. I remember when I first started posting TikToks, I was so scared to say things like feminine energy and the power that your feminine energy unlocks, how you attract your dream life, how taking care of yourself levels you up and attracts a better life. I was so scared to say this because it wasn't being talked about on the internet. However, when I did, and it was new and people heard this, they go, wait a second, I've never heard this before. It's not normal. I want you to disrupt the norm. What value can you share with people that has changed your life, that you know that you could just sit and talk about for a whole video? That is what's going to attract your soul-aligned clients. All I do on YouTube is I show up, share my own story, and pray, God, I hope that this helps the old version of me that is in the form of another woman. I hope that this helps somebody else. And it just happens to help 155,000 of us. I'm so grateful to have all of you girls here on YouTube. Matilde, I recommend, girl, take a look at the Divine and Aligned course. See if your heart says yes. See if your body lights up, because that is the blueprint to help you activate and launch your dream business. It is one of my favorite courses I've ever taught. For my business girlies, coaches, entrepreneurs, content creators, that is the course for you. Speaking of this too, how did I almost forget this? We have the Hawaii retreat, my girls. The Hawaii retreat is here. It's coming in February. So many of you girls have signed up and there's just a few spots left. I am so excited for it. I cannot wait. And I forgot to mention this last time. There is a pay over time option. If you'd like to join and you live in the US, when you go to the page, it's at thefeminineglow.com. At the checkout, you'll see Affirm. And I think even if you live outside of the US, PayPal has a pay over time option for some accounts. I've been getting that question a lot. You do not have to have done any of the courses if you want to come to the retreat. If you just want to be in Hawaii with me and the Glow Girl community, hanging out on the island, doing some inner work together, please come. I would love to have you. This will be your time to shine. It's going to be a live course that I teach while we're also doing activities and just having some fun girl time. So it's a 3-day retreat in Hawaii, Goddess Unleashed. I cannot wait. Okay, now back to this topic. Oh, I do see that there's some good questions. Oh, okay, let me answer this real quick because I see a lot of you are saying yes, yes. Let's say that you've done a lot of inner work on your feminine energy and then something triggers you and you go back into the old patterns of self-sabotage. How do I forgive myself? Danny, we're going to talk about this. So there's 2 points. The first one was releasing and letting go. What you just said, I think this will answer your question. But how do you forgive yourself? This is what I say that instantly activates forgiveness for myself. If I would have known better, I would have done better. Maybe you knew at a conscious level, but maybe not at an unconscious level. So what that means, let's say that, okay, this is a real life example. I used to do this all the time. Driving in traffic and someone cuts you off. I'm feeling good, my music's on, I'm in my feminine energy, literally a feminine energy coach, yet I would still get triggered. Oh, how could they have cut in front of me? This could have caused an accident, lay on the horn. Well, what I would do in those moments where I would think, oh, Alexis, how did that trigger you so much? Why did you just react like that? Rather than being hard on myself and shaming myself, I would say, you know what? You probably didn't know that triggering you would make you feel this way. So from now on, when those things happen, allow it to flow. Allow the tension, the anger, the buildup, allow it to just be released from your body. So now when someone cuts me off, I just breathe out and say, maybe they had somewhere to be. Maybe it's a mom that's literally in labor right now trying to get to the hospital. It's so funny. I was talking about this, I think, in Divine and Aligned the other day. So my mom used to always tell my siblings and I, my mom is so amazing, I love her. She would say when someone was being really aggressive or when they were speeding or they would cut us off. I remember literally being in my car seat as a kid, hearing her say this. She would say, I bet it's a husband trying to get his wife to the hospital. I bet she's in labor. She would say this kind of stuff. And at first I thought, Mom, you're so weird. Why are you making up these stories? But now I think, what a beautiful inner work goddess my mom is. When you create these scenarios, first of all, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagination. When you create these scenarios, your body becomes untriggered. I don't know if that's a word, but we just made it a word. All of the anger and that flood of emotion that would come up, gone. You are in your divine feminine energy, just flowing. So forgive yourself because you didn't know how to do it in that moment. Now the version of you does. So just do it next time. That's how I forgive myself. Okay, point number 2. Oh, my girls, when I hear something on a podcast and I write it down, I have to come and share it with you. So I'm going to be reading something for a little bit. This is from a podcast of 2 of my favorite men in the world, Jay Shetty and Dr. Joe Dispenza. You girls know that I love them both. And I'll link this podcast in the final YouTube video. So point number 2 about how to go from the wounded to the goddess. Break the addiction to certainty. Break the addiction to having to know the absolute outcome. So in this podcast, Dr. Joe Dispenza said something. It was one line that absolutely blew my mind. He said, we would rather feel guilt than freedom because at least we can be certain about how we feel. Just soaking that in. We as humans would rather feel a lower vibration, negative emotion than an emotion that can set us free because at least we can predict how we will feel. I always tell you girls, the reason why change is scary, the reason why maybe you can't unlock that new level of finances, that new healthy relationship, the reason why we can't unlock these things is because the old identity will want to keep us stuck. The old identity is scared to become this new goddess version of ourselves. So what do? We stay in the old identity. When he said this in the podcast, I thought, oh, I've got to tell the girls because this will tie everything together. So let's just take whatever emotion you've been stuck with. Maybe it's irritability, resentment. Maybe you're always rushed. You're always anxious. Maybe you're always stressed. Maybe you wake up and you feel stressed. You start thinking about your to-do list. Take that emotion, just hold it in your body. Where does it sit? How does it feel? This is going to be the harsh truth. You are choosing that emotion. You are choosing it. Your body has learned to like it. Your body has learned to feel safe with it. All these years that you've been waking up in the anxiety, waking up in the stress, waking up in the resentment, your mind has been programmed to feel, I need this emotion to survive. So then what happens is when we watch a really high vibrational video or we are in that course, we're doing inner work, what will happen is we sometimes slip back to the old identity because our body goes, wait a second, we've been programmed for 20, 30, 40 plus years to live in resentment, to live in anger or irritability. We don't know if we can survive with this emotion. So let's go back to being irritable. Well, If you just listen to this one quote again and you remind your body, wait, I only want to stay stuck in guilt so that I can choose the outcome. I want to be able to predict the future. That's why I'm scared to be in the new identity. That's how you let it go. When I heard this, it's like this wave of relief came over me. I thought, I'm good. I can be anybody I want because I don't care about predicting the outcome. I am breaking the addiction to certainty. Break it. We are not available for certainty as the Glow Girls anymore. We're not here for it. We are here for allowing whatever outcome to come. God's got us. He knows our plan. Your steps are already mapped. So why do we need to be certain? What is it serving us? Something that I used to do, this was a bad habit. I needed to control everything by having a schedule. And what this looked like is, you girls should see my agendas back in the day. In my agenda, every hour of the day was mapped out. Wake up at this time, go to the gym, take your vitamins, send this email, do this. It was so structured. And I remember, especially during COVID, my mom used to always tell me, Alexis, you're too structured. Give yourself more spontaneous energy. Make more time to hang out with the family. Even with my friends, if my friend said, hey Alexis, what are you doing tomorrow? I need to check my schedule. I need to check my agenda. I need to make sure that I have time to fit this in. That is how structured I was. I had no time to flow or be spontaneous. And for me specifically, it's because my body was still in that survival mode. I was still outrunning that imaginary bear that I needed to break free from that. So being spontaneous, how could I be spontaneous when I'm being chased by a bear? My body still felt it was in that fight or flight mode, so I couldn't relax. So being in that mode where I felt stressed, where I felt structured, it allowed me to predict the outcome. Okay, yay, I can celebrate because I know I'm going to be stressed. I've only known what it's like to be stressed. So yay, now I know I can survive. I let that go so quick. That did not feel good. Now I'm spontaneous and it feels so much better. I'm sure my friends are a lot happier too. All right, what else did I want to say here? Okay. Here's another example. If you think of this in your own life, think about those times when you walk by and you see a really masculine energy man, or maybe you're even watching one on TV. Do you know that feeling when your body just feels, whoo, you feel naturally feminine? I've heard a lot of girls say this and I think it's so accurate. They would always say, I was such a masculine energy woman until I met that one man who was just so masculine, more masculine than me, that suddenly I felt feminine. Think about those men who put you in that mode. Just get a picture of that real quick. So when you're around these men and your body naturally relaxes, well, what has just happened? You now have a safe masculine energy structure for your feminine energy to flow. That's why it's so easy to be feminine around these guys. They just pull it out. They have that invisible layer of masculine energy safety. So these men, you don't need men to do this for you. They have showed up and showed you what it's like to flow in your feminine energy. Now your inner work is, how can I activate my own masculine energy to feel this way? How can I bring out this imaginary masculine energy shell? How can I teach my body it's safe so that I don't need a man to make me feel feminine? My masculine energy's got me. I've got my back. I trust my masculine energy to take action, to plan goals, and to work in my life, to work in a very beautiful, delicious way so that my feminine energy can flow. Trust your own masculine energy and learn to play with both. That is going to heal so much feminine energy. So teaching your body that you can create that masculine energy shell, here's something else that you can create. And this goes back to point number 1. The idea of foster kids always carrying the suitcase and the boxing gloves. Well, here's how you teach your body to let that go. This is going to sound so cheesy, but I promise it's so fun and it's so healing. If you girls have ever seen that movie called Inside Out, that kids movie, you're going to understand this perfectly. I want you to close your eyes and imagine all of the systems working in your body. So I want you to imagine that emotion that is tied to anger, the emotion or the cord that is tied to your heart. I want you to imagine your brain and the cord of energy that flows through it. I want you to imagine the energy in your body that makes your feet walk. I want you to imagine the energy in your body that makes you speak, that makes you talk, that makes you dance. Imagine all of these systems just working in your body. Now what I want you to do is imagine that these systems are with you infinitely. These are your little buddies, they are your little friends that are working to keep you safe. So what you do from this point on is you recognize these systems. You have your heart working, you have that anger emotion working, you have that healthy, happy energy working. I want you to imagine all these little systems, all these little mini friends that you have in your body. They are keeping your body safe. They are working inside your body, making sure everything falls together perfectly for you. You don't need to carry the suitcase anymore. The emotion in your body, that little friend that you have that is able to let things go, that processes emotions, lets go of the past. Activate that friend, let them go. Imagine that there's literally, I don't know why this is coming to my mind, this is so gross. You know those commercials for Mucinex? Let me see if I could actually pull this up for you girls. You know those little like green monsters? I don't know why I'm imagining this. Okay, this is hilarious. Can you girls see this? Let me pull this up. I don't know why like these little things are coming up for me right now. So imagine that you have all of these cute little guys in your body, one in every system in your body, that are working to keep you safe. You are not alone. First of all, you have God, you have Jesus, and now you have these systems keeping your body safe. You don't need to hold the boxing gloves. You don't need to predict the outcome. You don't need to carry the suitcase. All of these systems are your masculine energy shell. They are your little buddies. They are your systems to keep your body safe and running. Trust them. You do not have to do it all. We have this weight on our back. I even just feel my body lighten up as I say this. You don't have to do it all. You're not supposed to do it all. Use the help around you. Allow your feminine energy to flow. All right, what else did I want to say on this subject? Yes, okay. So in this podcast too, this is some of the last parts and then we'll go ahead and chat for a bit. So in the podcast too, he talks about the power of meditation, which I know you girls already know. This is why meditation is so powerful. I'll read this quote. If you can envision a future reality without using your senses, just by meditating, your brain will begin to change as if the event has already happened. Then you attract it in and become that person. That's by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So when you imagine something happening, there's so many scientific studies about this. When you sit and you imagine something happen, when you imagine money hitting your bank account, when you imagine your dream partner coming up to you and asking you out, when you imagine these things happening, your body begins to react as if it's actually happening. What do you think happens after that? You start living differently. You start living as if it's already here. When you start living as if it's already here, you are now the vibrational match. You attract it in. You are a magnet to receive it. This is why I literally emphasize this in every single course that I teach. This journey, my girls, is going to be backwards. I always tell them this. This inner work that we're about to do, it's exciting. It's going to be backwards from everything that you've ever been taught. You don't get that partner and then you're happy and then you're the beautiful, healthy relationship couple. No, you become the woman that's already in that healthy relationship, then the man comes. Everything we've been taught is backwards here in the inner work community. I used to hate science too. This is so funny. I used to say, I hate science, it's so boring, until I discovered neuroplasticity, until I discovered epigenetics, until I discovered quantum physics. All of these things, neuroplasticity is changing your brain. It is changing your brain. It's sitting and meditating, visualizing who you want to become, and your body physically reacts and changes as a result. We're just talking about this in the Seductively Savage course, how you can change your body to become slimmer. You can change your facial features. You can change anything you want by envisioning it. It is mind-blowing, the power of neuroplasticity. Epigenetics. It is a study of changing your genetics. If you are wired to have the cancer gene, if you're wired to have a certain disease, you can change your genes. You can change your genetics. Dr. Joe Dispenza is the king at teaching this. You girls know I love his work. In quantum physics, manifestation, attracting your dream life. I don't know why I thought I disliked science. Science is my best friend. I'm obsessed with it now. All right, there was one more thing that I wanted to say on this. Yes, okay, back to that first point too about releasing and letting go with the suitcase and the boxing gloves. My version of suitcase or carrying that suitcase was being stiff in my body. It was being so stiff that dancing was so uncomfortable. I think I've told a lot of you girls this before. I could not dance. I was such a bad dancer growing up. I wasn't a bad dancer, my body was just stiff. I had so many blocked emotions, especially sitting in my hips, that I did not release because I didn't do inner work when I was younger. And I could not dance, I could not move freely. Even doing modeling, I could not pose very good as a result. So things like this, if you take a look at how your body moves, if you take a look at the way you're showing up, are you stiff or are you fluid? Feminine energy, it's like water. It's fluid, it moves, it dances with life. So things like releasing and letting go activates that feminine energy. It activates pleasure and play and flow in your life. It is so possible for you to go from the wounded to the goddess. This is how you do it. Releasing and letting go. And number 2, breaking the addiction to certainty. That is how you go from wounded to goddess energy. Now let's chat and I will take some of your girls' questions. Speaking of that breaking addiction to certainty too, so my team planning this retreat, my fabulous retreat planner, I remember telling her, I said, look, working together, I make decisions very, very quick. I very much trust my body and I trust my intuition. And she goes, okay. And we hadn't finalized the details for the retreat, such as which island in Hawaii is going to be at. And I remember I was so scared to tell her that I already told you girls about the retreat. I came to her and this was, I think, on Tuesday. I said, hey, look, I have to be honest about something. I already told my Glow girls about the retreat and I started offering it. I started offering spots and more than half the spots are already gone. The girls signed up. She goes, what? I thought she was going to be mad at me because we didn't have the venue. We didn't discuss the pricing. I just trusted my heart and did what felt right. She goes, Alexis, I have never seen this before. I have never worked with someone that has been able to bring this many people to decide to do the retreat. She goes, how did you do this? I was going to give you marketing tools, all this. I said, my girls make decisions quick. I make decisions quick. They know to follow their body. They know to follow their heart. And I just told them about it and they're excited. We want to go to Hawaii together and do inner work and have this retreat. She goes, I am just mind blown. She goes, I've never seen this before. So you girls are awesome. She cannot wait to meet you. I think I'm going to bring her out there at the retreat in Hawaii so you can meet her. Once the seats sell out for Hawaii, it is closed. My website will close off the course. We cannot bring more, unfortunately, because there's a certain amount that we can have at the location. OMG, I feel like the luckiest girl on the planet right now. My girl, that lucky girl syndrome. How do we sign up for the retreat? Do I need to do a course first? So the retreat is at thefeminineglow.com under the courses section. And nope, you don't need to do a program first. Most of the girls who have joined, I think most of them have already done my courses before. You don't need to do them. If it feels on your heart that you want to go, you're welcome to. I'm curious to know about your testimony to Christ. Oh, Giselle, yes, I might have to make a whole video on this girl. I connected to Jesus probably my whole life because I was raised Christian, but I truly, truly became the daughter of Christ when I was not 14, when I was in 4th grade. And I remember having this moment, or actually maybe it was when I was younger. You know those vacation Bible schools? So my mom would always put me in those and I thought, oh, I don't want to be here. And I remember hearing the story about how Jesus came into the world to sacrifice his life and that we're forgiven. We are made perfect because of him. That we are the daughter of the highest king, the daughters and sons of the highest king. I remember hearing these and thinking, what? I'm so valuable because I'm God's daughter. I'm Jesus's daughter. And everything that I had been using to get fulfillment in my life no longer had meaning. And I see this. I can tell when somebody has that connection to Christ because their eyes, their heart is lit up. Otherwise, we're just searching for this fulfillment in life. We are all craving this fulfillment. And Jesus has absolutely filled up my life. He's the reason that I'm so happy. I feel so divinely trusted or guided. And I love that you asked this question because the other day I was thinking, how did I heal that father wound? I had a very, very big father wound in my life. And I remember reflecting on this and thinking, God, Jesus healed my father wound because I have an eternal father. I have a father that's always in heaven, looking out for me, protecting me, having my back. So just that connection to God, as I've grown deeper and deeper with that, trusting God, taking time to be present with God, that has healed my father wound massively. It's so interesting. There's so much where science is now revealing everything that faith has taught. Love these questions. How can you get better at visualizing your dreams? Ooh, so what I would say, girl, is make it fun. Make it fun, make it easy. And for me, this looks like getting on Pinterest and creating my vision board. It looks like seeing people walking by with what lights me up. Let's say that they have my dream car, or let's say that they have a very beautiful, healthy family. I look at those people and say, that is my desire. I'm using them as my vision board. I'm seeing them show up. Now I get to have it too. Thank you, God, for presenting this desire to me. Make it easy and make it fun. Play around with vision boards, play around with Pinterest. Same for me. Jesus healed my father wound. Girl, yes. It is so beautiful to see. All right, my girls. I'll answer one more question, then I'm gonna run. Oh, Alexis, I'm so blessed that you answered my question. God is good. Thank you, girl. That's how you drop the how and the why. Girl, yes, so good. Oh, I love this question. And I think this is so great for anybody. Do you have any advice for being in your feminine energy while being pregnant? Girl, how beautiful. So beautiful. And congratulations. This is the time in your life where you get to activate some of the most potent, the strongest feminine energy. What I recommend for you is to learn to listen to your body. For example, when your body says we need to rest, we need to lay down, we need to take a bath, we need to do some stretching, allow your body to be guided by your intuition. When your body says we need to indulge in this craving, we need to read this book, we need to watch this show, we need to call this person, allow your body to do it. What's really hard is we have this 9-to-5 masculine energy mindset as women where we think we need to be rigid and we need to accomplish these goals. Your goal is filling your body with so much love that your baby is becoming nurtured by it and feels it within you. So girl, I love this. Just use this time to listen into your body. What would feel good in this moment? So good. All right, my girls, I have loved seeing you today. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy with me. Have fun practicing and just allowing your goddess divine feminine energy to come alive. I cannot wait to see you in the next live stream, and my girls who are in the courses, I cannot wait to see you in there. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Bye.